Well, good thing nothing happened this morning. We are.
You know what? Monday was one of the most productive days I've had in a long time.
Mhm.
Tuesday was literally the least productive day I've had in a long time. I wrote one article yesterday, not for lack of trying. And yeah, that's not my usual. I usually write like 40,000 words a week.
Yeah.
If I wrote one article like that every week, it'd be like 7,000 words. Like, that's terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, there are a lot of things announced, including this guy back here, which
Yeah.
is what everyone's been waiting for, the world's thinnest 15-inch laptop, because it shaves another millimeter. Rather than giving you extra battery life, they just chopped away more plastic.
I think it's a nice looking machine.
I think it is too.
I'm actually going to go and see if I can't review one of those things.
Yeah, I shouldn't trash it as much as I can, but it does look very nice, and it looks like they did a good job. I don't think it's out for a couple weeks though, so we got.
Yeah, I think most of these announcements are October timeframe. It looks like, and by these announcements we mean IFA is happening this week.
Yes, and as you can tell by where Paul and I are situated, we're both there actually, just on the show floor.
Yeah. Sorry if it's really loud in the background. Actually, that's a good point though, because IFA, from what I can tell, is like CES 2. It's just the September version, or I guess it's August. The timing is weird, but the timing for CES is kind of weird too when you think about it.
Yep.
This is maybe a better time for CES, and I don't think January is a good time for anything, but I ostensibly these things target back to school, but with devices not appearing until September, October, you've pretty much missed the season. So I guess it's really the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Paul, there's also really bad news today too. Like really bad news. I mean,
oh, jeez, yeah.
So Microsoft, for those not aware, and I've done something fancy here, Paul. Look, there it is. Everybody can see. That's the quote unquote new Xbox Elite controller. It's not the V2. It's actually just a white version of this thing.
Well, here's why this is bad news. What's that thing you have on there? Is it like a text adapter or something?
No. That's my headset connects into there. This is the old
because the old one doesn't have that. Yeah,
I like it.
So, yeah, I mean, on the new controller type, which has been around for more than a year, actually, it might even be 2 years. I don't know, but whatever the time frame is, it has that connection built right into it.
Yep.
What are the many niceties? Bluetooth connectivity, faster connectivity regardless of what connection type. And yeah, so the reason this is bad news, in case it's not clear, because it's a nice looking controller.
It really is.
That means the new version isn't coming out anytime soon.
Yeah.
Why on earth would they release a white version of this now? Very disappointing. I really need to replace mine.
Yeah, I'm up in the air about if I'm going to buy that thing, because it's just a white controller. There's nothing different, and they didn't explicitly say if they've used more glue on the rubber pads. But mine works
that's
fine.
Been my problem.
Other than that, but
I showed you. Where's mine? Mine has the issue where, like you were saying, like this thing is all clear and shiny because the nice grippy part, that's one of the advantages of having this controller, has come right off. For a while it was kind of hanging off like a flap. Then it's like a Band-Aid. You eventually just have to tear it off because it's so terrible. So it's not good.
It does look nice though.
It is pretty. I think we can agree to that. One of the things I actually really, in their little promo video, they do a lot of like green lighting to highlight things. And when I first kind of caught it, I thought that was like how it lit up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm buying this thing. But then I realized it was just like a goofy thing from the video. Yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, so it'll be $150. You can pre-order it now. It's only available at certain locations too. It's not available everywhere. Like it's only like GameStop and the Microsoft Store, I think, or something like that.
I really, this. I mean, better than anybody. Microsoft is working on a new version of this controller. The release we figured was imminent. Now, obviously, it's not, and so I have to think this is kind of a limited edition thing. It was tied to some other white controls. White hardware that is for some reason tied to the new Fallout game, which has nothing to do with the color white.
Yep.
But if you wanted a white Xbox One X, which I imagine a number of people do, there's now a bundle in that color as well. With that console color, which looks great. It's a beautiful device, but maybe it's limited because of that. It's kind of a little exclusive for a little while. But this has to mean we're not getting a new version of this controller this year, and that's the problem.
Yep. And I just hope it doesn't mean that the other one's been canned. I mean, they were already making pre-production units of it at one point, or prototypes at least. So
yep.
We will see. And then the other thing kind of announced today out of the Google camp was that Android Wear, not dead, getting redesigned. It looks like, oops, that's not the Google one. That's the Google one.
Yeah.
Look how fancy this show is today, Paul. Look at this.
This is a level of quality I'm unaccustomed to.
Yeah.
I need to see this thing. I have to be honest. I've actually owned a number of these things, older Android Wear devices, watches, and I've always thought that their user interface model made sense. That coming from a mobile phone, typically, or any mobile device, that you would start swiping around in this thing in a very natural way. That it made a ton of sense. Contrary to this, I've always thought that the Apple Watch UI with the bubbles or whatever the frick that's supposed to be is the dumbest idea I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know what they've done. I mean, obviously it's better looking. Android Wear is just like, it's like their version of Cortana. Like, I'm sure it has some advantages, but nobody uses it. You never see these things. I don't believe they've achieved any kind of market share of any kind. They keep trying, God bless them. So I don't know. I mean, but bad news, Google. Apple has a new watch coming out in about a month, and they're pretty much the number one maker of these things, and I don't see that ending.
The one interesting thing is, so they talked about cleaning up the UI and all that stuff, but if you look at the left two watches at the bottom there, like you can see the text for the next item.
Yeah.
And that's not...
well, it gives you an indication of where to go for more, right?
Yeah.
What you're seeing there is obviously a scrollable list, and so like the middle one, you could scroll up and you'll see events and probably other things down below there. I'm okay with it. There are different ways to kind of look. I assume what you're saying is it doesn't look very clean. That maybe you would typically have a single thing there. Obviously, when you go into an application of some kind, if you went into messages, you would just see your messages. I think the view on the left is probably further down on that list. And so you're seeing other things, like you're seeing the Messages app, you're seeing the Hangouts app, and there's probably, more still below that. The thing on the right is obviously Google Fit. And so that's a standalone app. It takes up the whole screen. It takes advantage of the round shape of the screen, which I think is cool, Yeah. And of course they've gone to that model, which they copied from Apple, where you're completing a circle for some reason, because that's what exercise is. It's running around in a circle.
Yeah.
For example, when go to me real quick. When I want to get more steps on my Fitbit, I just sit here and I go like this, because you're going in a circle. I'm kidding, by the way. Actually, does that work?
Defeats the purpose.
I have a huge left arm and my legs have withered away.
And then there's also, what is that? I closed OneNote there, which, by the way, somebody from Microsoft did actually reach out after the OneNote sync issue, and they wanted to try to help, but we've done 460 something episodes, and that was the first time it never sank. So,
sure. Synced, I think.
There was also this guy announced, which is somewhat surprising in my opinion, a second generation-ish Acer. That's a mixed reality headset with a 100-degree field of view, displays and resolution of 2880 by 1440 and a refresh rate of 90 hertz. Definitely targeted at the business market. But second gen.
I don't think that resolution, that's not any higher than what we already have, right? 2880 by 1440. I think that is the resolution.
Yeah, that does sound about right. So I don't know.
Windows mixed reality has not been successful, right? Put simply. I give Microsoft credit for doing a couple of important things for mixed reality. They've kind of, just by putting it in the OS, they've kind of formalized it as a thing. I think that's important. And they've made it a simpler setup that has so far been capable or possible in other platforms on the PC at least. And that's about it.
Yep.
And it just hasn't done very well. One of the things that came out in that article about the Xbox VR solution that was canned was that, based in part on the lack of success, the lack of interest in this Windows mixed reality platform, they've kind of, let's go back and think about this a little bit. Plus, the most popular VR solution on earth, and this is something I suspected, this article confirmed that, is the Sony PSVR, which has sold 3 million units. And I assume at least 17 or 18 of them are actually still in use every day. Yeah, it's a million is a big number. 3 million is a big number for sure. But when you put that in kind of context to the entire, gaming industry, it's just, how many days does it take Apple to sell 3 million iPhones? One?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty something like that.
So what they do like 50 or 60 million a quarter.
Yeah.
So it's probably a weekend, maybe.
Yeah. So last quarter was actually probably their slowest quarter. I just happen to remember this because I wrote it up. They sold 41 million flat with the previous year. But over the holiday quarter, they're going to sell like 75 million, So it probably does average somewhere, in the middle there. It's incredible.
Well, there's roughly 92 days in a quarter. So it's almost 500,000 a day, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Decent.
Plus you and I saw the Samsung boxes being returned on the back of a truck, like the sullen disappointment that they are.
Yep. Then the other stuff that popped up too, which I didn't include here, and I can't say the name because it'll blow up my office, but Dell is shipping PCs with that Amazon thing built in.
Yeah. Yeah, the only interesting thing here. So I should say, first up, Intel announced their, I'm going to say, new 8th generation processors. This is the 3rd generation of their 8th generation processors by my count. It's the U and the Y series, and that's the U series is the one that went quad core last year. These are the mainstream chips you see in all kinds of laptops and portable computers, and actually a lot of desktop computers too. But the Y series is what we used to call Core M. Actually, they still call it Core M3 on the low end version, but they call the other two Core i5 and Core i7, even though they're just garbage. So they've been updated, but like the chips, the core processing part of it hasn't really been updated all that much. This is really about the Wi-Fi connectivity that's kind of attached to the chipset that you get from Intel. So neat. And now we have all these PC makers who are releasing computers, this fall based on these new designs. So Dell is the first. They announced a bunch of consumer PCs, updates to existing PCs like the XP13, small business PCs like the Vostro, and their first ever premium Chromebook as well. All of which are based on these 8th generation, whatever, new Intel, whatever they're called, something stupid Lake processors. So yeah, exciting. Oh, and sorry. And then what you were pointing out was that the consumer offerings, the Inspirants, and I guess that's it, all come with Alexa.
Oh, stop.
It's all right. And and the other thing is, I pointed this out to you in Mahedi this morning. I was kind of confused by this. The Intel announcement about these new chips specifically mentions that customers are able to use Alexa and Cortana to do whatever. Yeah. There's no indication in the announcement that there's anything in the chip that makes this better or different or whatever, but they specifically called it out. And I think part of it might simply be that there are so many PC makers. I don't remember all of them, but I know it's Acer, Dell, HP, I think Lenovo too, are all putting this Amazon Assistant on their consumer PCs now this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's really, there's no tea leaves that need to be read there about the direction of Microsoft's digital assistant.
Yes. It's going in a decidedly Windows Phone-esque direction. Yep. Which is, apropos as it did debut on that platform.
Yeah, I guess that is true. What was that? Windows Phone 8?
Windows Phone 8, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. You got any this is actually pretty content-packed episode compared to the usual waffling that we do for 18 minutes every day.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we'll change that tomorrow.
Well, no, like I said, I'm kind of glad because Monday was great. Tuesday sucked. Today was better.
Do have a question for you. Have you tried, I need to see if I can find the disc, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 backwards compatibility yet?
I have. I took in fact, I'll post it on Twitter when we're done with this. I took a photo just with my phone of the screen, and one of the levels, the reason this game is iconic is because of the multiplayer levels. And this was the case with Modern Warfare 3. It was the case with the first Modern Warfare, which remember they remastered last year. God, I just Favela, which has been remade, I think in one of the Black Ops game, probably Black Ops 2, but I'm not really sure, is one of the best levels of all time. But
Mm-hmm.
each of the levels that comes up, like there's the one that's at the top of the skyscraper, and I'm sorry, not the top of the sky. It's a construction zone. There's the other, actually, there's two construction zones. One where it's like where they're cutting the rock, and there's all those cubes of the rocks or whatever. I don't remember the names of these things, but as these things are coming up, I'm like, oh God, yes. And it's no, but it's, I've said this before. Like I have these very specific memories of these locations as if they're real places. Like there's no moment of, oh, right. It's like, yep, I know exactly where everything is. Like I know where people are going to be hiding, and they are. It's like they never left. Yeah. You run around the corner, you're like, I know there's going to be a goon here with a claymore. And there he is.
I need to go see if I still have that disc to put in my game console.
Yeah, at some point, because we used to play Call of Duty up the street with these guys, and at some point I bought everything digitally that I didn't have digitally. Mm-hmm. So I actually own every Call of Duty game digitally. And when they announced that this was coming out, I thought it was already out. I was confused. Like, how was this not? But it wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
well, I suspect. You remember, was it 2 years ago, or was it last year? Then when they released the Call of Duty game, they had Modern Warfare included.
Yeah, the first one. Yep.
Yeah, I bet that there was some pushback from Activision or whoever was publishing it, that's saying, "Hey, don't do that game because we might include it as a add-on to buy a new game."
Yeah, right. And I still very much want them to remaster 2 and 3. Obviously the graphics have improved a lot, and the jump from the normal to the remastered is actually not that great. I mean, as far as the graphics quality, it does go up a little bit, but I do enjoy it when the newer games remake levels, especially if they try to be faithful to the original. There's a couple of levels in World at War that have done that, which I think is always great. Black Ops 3 was big on this stuff. And I like I said, like Favela was remade. I'll have to go back and look. It might have been Black Ops 2 or 3. I don't remember, but it's playing the old version. I'm like, oh yeah, you can kind of see, you remember some of the old stuff that was in it that they kind of took out or changed in some way. And it looks, it's a little on the low quality end of the scale, right? Because it's an older game. It doesn't look like these modern games, but it's excellent. It's just immediately like, yep, I remember this fondly. This was a year of my life at some point.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that, and I might be playing that tonight instead of PUBG. You got anything else for today, Mr. Thrat, before we shut her down?
No, I guess not. There's stuff coming and whatnot. Oh, just one thing real quick about the, I had put the post up, I think on Monday about the party we're planning for Ignite. Now I've gotten over 50 responses. We had said that it was open to up to 100 people. So we still got some room to go. If you are still interested and are an alpha or premium member, you can email me at paul@thrat.com to attend that party at Ignite. And I just wanted, I guess the thing is, like, I got a bunch of emails. I kind of said, like, I can't really respond to each one of these things. But I did read them all, and a lot of them had like nice notes attached to them. They were like, "Hey, I've been following you since whenever," or I signed up for a premium immediately, and I actually really do appreciate that thing. And I kind of went back and forth with Tina this morning on email about how to to best do this, and she was saying, "Look, we are going to email everybody, so maybe that will be the appropriate time." But the responses I got were so nice, I kind of felt like maybe I should write a thank you post or something. But so if you did write in, chances are you're in, and thank you, and we will formally thank you, I guess.
Or you can just thank them in person because they're going to be at the
party. Right. It's interesting, because the a couple of people I know, like Gary Petty was one of the people. I'm like, I do obviously you're in, or Bradley Barrows from Microsoft, who there's probably like a separate list we're going to have for people from those kind of companies or whatever, as well. But it was nice. It was terrible, getting all that email, but it was most of them were really nice.
Well, good. Great.
How about you, Brad? What else is going on in your life?
I have a meeting in 12 minutes, and I'm going to try to get my hair cut. I think that's
during the meeting. Nice.
That would be very
like, listen, I have to keep this earpiece in, just work around it. Is that a helicopter I hear? Oh no, Brad's getting his hair cut.
Did you just plant a claymore?
Yes, I did.
So, All right, folks. So that wraps it up for today. We'll be back here tomorrow because tomorrow's Thursday, although I thought today was Thursday for a while. And unfortunately, it is not. But we'll catch you right back here tomorrow on First Ring Daily.